Filling and excelling in the shoe of the father is oftentimes an arduous task for many. But for the son of Ishaweri, the son to the founding father of the nation, Uhuru Kenyatta, has he aced it? That is the question in the tongues of many in this country. Besides, will the people of Gatundu welcome him back with open arms after he has been the head of state for the last 10 years? Well, that forms the basis of our conversation today on Siasa Brigade, yet another classical edition, because it has insights, intriguing insights into the life of Herman Manyora. And today, now that we're talking about our President Uhuru Kenyatta, we want to get a niche, or rather, some element of his tour to State House, not once, not twice, and particularly so that day when he was part of the crew that was presenting the BBI report and a story about the reserved 100 seats. You don't want to miss that, which will be coming on the Wheel of Time segment today on this particular edition. But before that, my name is Richard Mwanjo. Yours truly. Let's dive into this discussion with Vihiga's biggest expert, Herman Manyora. And Muhammad is your other name. People don't know that.
Yes.
All right, sir. Today we're talking matters to do with the heads of state. Such a privilege to honor him with this particular edition now that he is exiting office in a couple of days, the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces. He is the son to the late President, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Under his administration, many people have been criticizing him, oftentimes for the sins of the father, particularly in matters to do with land accumulation. They see Uhuru Kenyatta, and many are questioning the issue to do with the vast family property and family wealth. For you as a seasoned political analyst and strategist therein, do you think it will come to a time when a president, now that we're talking of probably a Raila's presidency, also from another kind of non-family, the Odinga's family, will it come to a point whereby no sitting president will be criticized because of the mess or the highlights of his father?
Well, that certainly will be a time when there will be a man from the streets becoming president, and he will have no past to talk about. That's normal.
How about if Raila clinches the power?
So how about it? He'll just have cleaned the power. He'll be the president.
But then probably people picking pieces from the time of Oginga Odinga and trying to correlate that with the Raila's presidency.
You know why people from families become things? It's because one of the things you need in political life, if you are running for office, 60% is name recognition. So, if you want to become an MP, you spend 60% of your efforts for people to know you.
I see.
Now, if you are running against the son of a former MP, you see he already has the name. So if he beat you, he will not beat you because he's a better candidate. He beat you because that aspect of 60% of name recognition, he already has it under wraps. So Raila begins by being Jaramogi's son. That name recognition is not an issue. You can apply that to Uhuru Kenyatta. He's the son of Jomo Kenyatta. How would you try to know him? He's already known. But, and this is where Ruto and these people come in. But there's Nick Ruto and June Ruto. They will want to be things in this country. Nick will not be known because he's a serious businessman or anything. He will be known because he's Ruto's son. So when people say that we want sons of nobodies, now will they hold things constant so that they are a nobody? You are nobody's son, and you should be nobody, and your children should be nobody, and your grandchildren should be nobody. Only then would what you are saying make sense.
All right. How about now those using the question of integrity of probably the wealth accumulation plan that their fathers used for political mileage? We've seen people accusing Uhuru, Raila, Odinga of what they have accumulated this far. In as much as Uhuru might have gotten all that out of transparency and all that, people will still always look at it from the other optic of this is money that probably your father grabbed from the public.
You know, there are many things you can look at. One of them is politics and money go hand in hand. In very few cases would nobody in terms of money win even an MCA seat.
MCA?
Yeah, even MCA down there, it's expensive. I was doing my basic calculation when my cousin ran the last set of councillors. That was the year 2007. I said, God, to be a councillor, now an MCA, you need money. So, leadership and money in this country are one and the same. That's the first thing you want to accept. You also want to accept that after independence, there was a misstep where we got certain things right. Instead of the founding fathers doing the best they would have done for their countries across the world, they went into primitive accumulation. Another fact. It does not need any brain, in fact. Even if you are brainless, you will see it's true. Across Africa, apart from Nyerere, where else? All these guys went into getting wealth. Okay? Another fact is that they have children. Now, another set of facts must also allow us to say that we cannot blame the children for the sins of their fathers. Okay? Another set of facts is that if you'll be talking about accumulation of wealth, of land, all these resources, you should ask yourself how much of those are as a result of Uhuru's effort. If the Kenyatas have vast tracts of land, how many acres has Uhuru added there on that
Atop.
whether through stealing or hard work? You may find there's not even added one inch. In the election of 2013, somebody tried to attack Uhuru in terms of land, but even Raila came to his defense. You can Google, go to YouTube. Let's be fair to Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, he has never, what has he done? So, let's not also blame the children for the sins of their fathers unnecessarily.
Very well.
Okay? Because while at it, how will you feel if your son will be stopped from participating in the affairs of your country just because he was your son? Just as you are saying Raila is Jaramogi's son, people will be saying Nick is the son of Ruto, who was deputy president for 10 years. It will be so unfair to Nick that his country cannot give him an opportunity to serve merely because he was Ruto's son.
I see.
Uhuru put it so well in 2002. Kama baba yako alikuwa na butchery, wewe huwezi kuwa na butchery. That's what he said. So let us not hype on this thing because it will catch with us tomorrow. Okay? I have seen a young man in Uhuru's home. There's somebody there. I've seen one of his children. That man is a politician. When I look at Nick, he's also a politician. Fidel, the late Fidel of Raila, was a politician also. And you can't deny these people the right to participate in in the affairs of their country merely because their fathers were this or were not this. If there was a law to say if you are not the son of somebody, you can't run, I'll be the first person to fight that law. Correct.
I see. Kenya has always had one president and still has one president therein. But there are Kenyans who hold a contrary opinion. Those who believe that there has always been an existence of a shadow president in Uhuru's tenure. They talk of Mama Ngina Kenyatta, they talk of Moho Kenyatta, and a number of people behind the scenes. Raila Odinga probably will clinch the power because he's been endorsed by Uhuru Kenyatta. We don't know, the electorate will decide on that. But even those like Oscar Sudi, they're already criticizing the move by Uhuru to support Raila. They say because of Raila's age and probably he is kind of worn out a little bit. I cannot tell how true that is. They say Uhuru is pushing Raila so that Uhuru doesn't retire. He'll still be in power, influencing key government decisions therein. How true could such statements be?
Well, some people can say that out of politics, but the others will say that because of ignorance.
Where could Sudi
Because the constitution is clear. It's Uhuru who has been president of this country. He's about to leave. It's not Mama Ngina, it's not Moho Kenyatta. If you give Raila the president, please, you voters, when you vote, you know you are voting for Raila. Don't ever imagine you are voting for somebody else. Please, don't disappoint yourself.
It is Raila the CIC.
Yes, please. There will be only one commander-in-chief. And for those who think Raila is frail, I think they are also wrong. When did Raila begin campaigning? This thing. See, it's about 4 months now. Have you heard he has gone to hospital because he was campaigning?
Not at all.
So, has he been all those rallies, several in a day? Whole helicopters, they are literally living in the sky. I think Raila is fit enough to be president for the time God will give him, for the chance Kenyans will give him, and for the time Kenyans will give him. He will be president. And when you are made president, you are President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is you, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who is president of Kenya. Not your mother, not your brother, not another shadow. However, it is true that every government across the world, every center of power has people who support that center. There are people who have more than their fair share of say. During Reagan's time, the wife Nancy had more say than any other known first lady has had, at least for me. During the time of Bush, his vice president, Cheney, he had so much power, people couldn't believe. You know, other places, there are groups of people. During Kenyatta, there was the Kiambu Mafia, people used to say. Those things are there. Those informal groupings of people, or people who hold an office and wield more power than that office has.
Kitchen cabinet.
So this is common. So if there are people who could influence a president more than others, that's normal. It's not strange. It's not strange. No, it's not strange.
I see.
If there will be people who will have an influence on Raila more than others, nothing will be strange. But this idea of saying somebody is putting somebody there so that he can be the one, it never works. The best example was people said about Tshisekedi in Congo, DRC. Oh, have you heard of that man? He's disappeared. I saw him somewhere. He looks miserable. The former president. No, you can't know he's the one. They were saying, oh, what is the name of that guy? Joseph Kabila.
Kabila.
Oh, Kabila is putting there Tshisekedi so that he will continue ruling. Wapi, Tshisekedi amekalia hiyo kiti. Nobody can put there somewhere.
So if a Kenya wants to go and vote for Raila, it's Raila the president is voting.
They are voting for Raila.
I see.
If there is a scheme, because politics is full of schemes, otherwise it will not be politics. If it is in the design of Uhuru and his people that after Raila, Mother Karua takes over, again, that's perfectly not. That's how politics is played. If it is they are saying after Karua, let it be Matiang'i. That again is perfectly in order for them. It is for Kenyans and the other players to destabilize that scheme. And if they are unable, then the other scheme wins. It is scheme against scheme. Plan against plan. This game against your game. Your formation against my formation. That is what politics is.
All right.
Yeah.
Uhuru Kenyatta is coming on board as the fourth president of Kenya. And therein we've seen past presidents and how they've actually responded to their attackers. There are those who've made iron fist counter-attacks. No need to mention them. They are well known out here. When you look at some of the claims made by DP just a few days ago on how Uhuru is the source of threats and probably Uhuru is making so much of intimidation towards his side and so forth, to the point that DP says, as long as Uhuru doesn't kill my children, I'm okay with him. As the commander-in-chief of the defense forces come forward and said he has always had the power to do harm to DP, whatever person that is in government. He's never done it. What does this talk about Uhuru as the president of Kenya? Will you say he's the first president to have such empathetic nature in him and literally knowing how best to approach those who attack him?
That is Uhuru's style. He told a delegation of MPs at State House that people think I'm too weak or something. I'm not like my father. That whenever my father removed his sword, it never came back. Kisu yake kitoka mpaka irudi na damu. Itoka na kanyama kidogo. But that is his style. Everybody has their style. Some people can make a lot of noise but do no harm. Some people may be quiet but do harm. Some people may make noise, do harm. So it's somebody's character, somebody's style. I think Uhuru has been criticized for being too lenient. In the burial of Salem Dabara's mother, I told her dramatically as usual, told Uhuru to come out, talk! Deal with these people. But Uhuru has avoided that. That is his style. But it has led some people to think he's weak. You have heard people like Rigathi Gachagua saying that he suffers from inferiority complex. You have heard Gachagua and even Ruto saying this guy cannot stand somebody who is strong beneath them. They are wrong. Because that simply is Uhuru's style. Uhuru has been unable to sack even the most useless minister. Again, that is his style. If people thought he was unable to sack because he can't face them, about 4 ministers resigned to go and run for office. Has he filled those offices? Ameweka hata moja?
Not yet.
Nani hangefanya from April, from February?
Yeah.
Anybody, including Raila, Ruto, they would have filled those. Uhuru is simply not the type of person to get excited. You know why? Uhuru is a grand master at strategy. Strategy must be differentiated from tact. The tactics, to some people, tactic and strategy are rolled into one. Most politicians. If you are interested in the tactical moves, you relish You are very happy with victories, small battles you win. Up and apale. Uhuru doesn't belong to that class. Uhuru has his eyes on the strategy, on the goal. Strategists have their eyes on the goal. They allow you to celebrate small victories at battle level, at a tactical level. But their eyes are
at the price.
Yeah, that is strategy. Long term. Uhuru is long term. If you look at even some of the things he's doing in the infrastructure and continues to do until the last day, you would think Uhuru is not going to leave office. He's moving as if he'll be around for another, I don't know how many years.
Launching and commissioning projects.
Long term. So that is, he's a strategist.
I see.
Long after he has gone, left State House, the Kikuyus will be dancing in celebration of Uhuru Kenyatta because of the way he's opening up infrastructure around the mountain. And he does not care. You think Uhuru is so stupid? So that if he had wanted to be a darling of the Mount Kenya people, he could not have done it. You think he's so daft he can't see it?
Tell us.
Every time he was doing things, he will be going there. Hii barabara leo tunaanzisha hapa itafika pale Marwa na mtakuwa mkienda dual carriageway. Alafu anaingia hapo local, ananunulia watu kanywaji, anaingia Sunday kanisa, pastor namna gani, anamnunulia. You think he couldn't do that? And he doesn't have the resources. Strategy, long term.
Long term strategy.
Benefits. If you concentrate so much here, you lose sight of the long term goal. That's Uhuru. But when duty calls for you to come and do the small little thing that people have been doing, look at the damage Uhuru has caused Ruto's campaign in just a couple of days before the election. Beginning with Kisumu, Bungoma, Kisii, Mombasa, my friend.
I see.
The damage is involved. Then Sagana. What are you talking about, my friend?
Now that you're talking matters strategy, we've seen a proponent, a section of Kenyans are decrying the high cost of living and they're attributing it to Uhuru's presidency. They say this mess started when Uhuru's kitchen cabinet was made up of people with much on a self-aggrandizement drive and people with self-interest in there. They have quoted a number of ministers. They say these are darling to Uhuru, but they're not performing. From Transport CS James Macharia and a number of CSS who've been there all through his second terms. Would you say that just as Linjiru was opened up on people who are callous at State House, misguiding Moi, they were Moi's eyes, but they never literally delivered on his manifesto? Would you say that Uhuru has suffered the same fate?
It depends on how you look at it. Some people would choose to look at Uhuru as a person who has delivered on certain projects. The infrastructure. Another president perhaps could have taken 3 presidents to do what Uhuru has done. But there are those who may wish to concentrate on James Macharia. It depends on how you are looking at it. Some people look at the grand scheme of things that Uhuru has opened up the country by a network of roads and airport, many things, all these beautiful roads and the things you are seeing that go with transport. But like I say, others will choose to concentrate on James Macharia. Say, huyu Uhuru ameweka pale aibe pesa. It depends on how you look at it. And nobody can stop you for looking at something in the way you want. But generally we can say that it is still possible to do these good things with the minimal theft. That would be the ideal situation. You and I know the world is not always operating at optimal levels. You see? So ideally, you can deliver on roads, on infrastructure generally, but with the minimal stealing that goes with it.
I see.
Yeah.
Before we actually get to the next phase of this conversation, remember that I've been dressed by none other than Hakika 10,000 Designs. A fantastic designer by the name Odanga will definitely deliver you such and even more better outfits. All you need to do is to give him a call. He is based right here in Nairobi. He's served a number of clienteles in their thousands within our borders and actually across our borders. He's definitely excellent at his job. All you have to do is have your few shillings in the pocket and make a call, because he is affordable and definitely he'll deliver, not just in terms of quality, but in whatever quantity you want. Call him today, Hakika 10,000 Designs. Sir, we have seen William Ruto come and say that were it not for him, Uhuru could not have ascended into power as the president of Kenya. In 2002, Moi endorsed him for presidency. Uhuru never got the ticket, but he steered on and still vied for presidency in 2013. He has filled the shoe of his father and taken after his legacy. Would you say that were it not for Ruto, indeed, Uhuru could have never been the president of Kenya?
Again, like the other question, it depends on how you look at it. Politics is a game of dynamics. You can't hold certain things constant because they favor you. The best way to look at it is, in 2013, Uhuru Kenyatta ran on a ticket with William Ruto, and that ticket won. So Ruto thinks if it was not for him, if it were not for him, Uhuru was not winning. So let me ask him this. Supposing Uhuru realized what he has realized after the 2017 election, that one of the ways to solve the problems of this country is to atone for the sins of their fathers. Supposing he did what actually many people expected him to do, called Raila, and they went out of the country, away from people, enjoyed their wives laughing in some corner, na hao wanakaa hapo wanaongea. Ambia Raila, look here, let's sort out this mess our father put the country into. We are creating unnecessary friction in the country. I know my father could have been misled or could have misread the mood, and he went against his bosom friend who made him president, your father. Is it not possible we can bridge that difference in the interest of the country? They laugh, they have a drink, they come back to Kenya. And Uhuru announces that I am supporting Raila Odinga, 2013. Would there have been a contest that year? So what is Ruto talking about? Would there have been a contest? If they did then what they are doing now, what they did in 2018, it was possible they could have done it. Even the election of 2017, there was that talk. There was talk of Uhuru abandoning Ruto and working with Raila. There would have been nothing with Raila announcing that, look here, we will fight this thing and we may end up just the way we ended up in 2013. I'm supporting Uhuru Kenyatta. I'll take off after him. They could have paid these people kidogo. But just as they have come used to this, which they didn't want in 2018, after the handshake, even that they could have lived with it. And Raila, Uhuru will be supporting Raila. If it had worked the other way, it will be Uhuru now seeking the presidency after Raila's 10 years. It could even have been 5 years. So I know when people help others, they exaggerate the importance of their inputs. Yes, you did something, but don't be hyperbolic about it. Don't exaggerate. Because even Mudavadi could have done what he did. If Uhuru went with Mudavadi.
Or even Kalonzo.
Oh yeah, it was also going to be a challenge to Raila. Please, let's not blow what we have done out of proportion.
All right.
What is bad is that, as you say, you made Uhuru president, you are losing some respect. Because you go to the extent of saying you will retire kwa bar. You know what Gachagua said?
True.
And people listen, this man wants to be a leader. Leaders don't wash their dirty linen in public. A woman worth her salt can never tell people the secrets of her house with her husband, even after divorce.
Wise man Herman Manyora.
That's what I'm saying. So, a leader can never say bad things about another leader to the level Gachagua and Ruto are doing. You don't.
All right.
There's a limit. So that the leadership, because the leadership is not for Uhuru. It's not for Raila. The leadership includes Raila, Ruto, Gachagua, Martha Karua, Ruto. They are all part of the leadership. So if you throw mud at the leadership, it doesn't fall on Raila and Ruto alone. It splashes on all of you. That's why leaders have a limit to how far they can hit at each other. Because they know psychologically, for the leaders to lead people, the people must hold them in a certain place. You get? If that crashes, nobody can accept to be led. Why do you think people accept to be led? Why?
Very well.
We can refuse to be led, all of us in the world, and the world becomes stateless.
All right.
Correct.
I see. You have always propagated here on the channel that it is good for Kenyans not only to view Uhuru as a president, but also as a human being at the end of the day. You have seen him as the first sitting president to actually bury his predecessors, that is Moi, is buried, accorded state burial to Moi Kibaki. From where you sit as a senior citizen and from a general standpoint, looking at the kind of state burial he accorded the two heads of state, of course, the military burial and all that, what does this say about the personality and the nature of Uhuru Kenyatta, besides him, the president now as a human being?
You see, there are some of these things Uhuru has no choice over. These people were commanders in chief, and therefore the army will bury their CIC. But there's a role the government plays. Beyond what officialdom presents, there's a role the president plays. If you look at Uhuru during Moi's burial,
And what he said.
and if you look at Uhuru during Kibaki's, he went beyond the call of duty, and you could see the human part of Uhuru Kenyatta. You could extend that to the son of Raila, Fidel. You saw how much touched Uhuru was, despite being a fierce opponent of Raila Odinga. They were engaged in serious battles as the leading figures on opposite side. But he made even contributions beyond what is his duty. You know, so we must also learn to remain human beings. But you know, for Uhuru is also when you have been brought up in State House playing in the corridors as a boy, that rubs on you. So humility becomes part and parcel of your upbringing, and especially the upbringing of Jomo Kenyatta. He wanted these people to grow as ordinary children. You know, Kikuyu, the Gikuyu that Uhuru speaks, many of you can't speak. Can you imagine the son of the founding father of the children speaking the best of Gikuyu? Can you imagine it?
Yeah, they went to the best English schools.
Yeah, they could go anywhere. Kenyatta he could take them anywhere. So those things contribute to the kind of person Uhuru is in terms of the human beyond being president. And that is good because when you leave office, that is a shock.
The soft landing.
The transitional shock is minimal.
All right.
You just go into normal life because you have always been a normal being.
We'll get to the transitional shock there in a little bit later on. But then again, sir, if you are looking at the time when Moi actually endorsed Uhuru as the next president of Kenya in 2002, but he never clinched it. From what Uhuru has achieved this far and actually being the president of Kenya, the fourth for that case, do you think, from whatever place Moi is today, do you think he's proud of what Uhuru has done and where Uhuru has gone in terms of political mileage?
Of course. Yeah, we saw it. We saw it when Moi was alive. Moi did not die before Uhuru became president. Moi was there to see Uhuru running the country. Even before he went down with age and ailment. He was proud of. I remember one day Uhuru going to
Kabarak.
Almost immediately after Victor, going to Kabarak, where Moi used to live. And I could see it on Moi's face. I could see Moi must have been happy, and wherever he is, he's happy that Uhuru became president. He must have gone to say hello to Jomo Kenyatta, and both of them are looking down and saying, we are proud of what we have brought forward.
What this son has done to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Uhuru was always Moi's son, politically speaking.
Before we come to the close of this conversation, Uhuru is actually exiting office. And you've talked about him, whether he'll get a soft landing or not. For the people of Ishaweri, Gatundu, and the larger Mount Kenya politics, this far, do you think they're going to take Uhuru back with open arms in as much as we've seen kind of divide in the Mount Kenya bloc? Even those people he has fathered in Kikuyu politics, the likes of Justin Muturi and so forth, they're his biggest critics. This time round, do you think people of Gatundu will take him as they used to take the founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta?
They'll cry when he's leaving office.
They will cry?
Yeah. They'll shed tears. That's it. People, even in the dying days, people can see the person who they are now about to lose in terms of leaving office. And they will receive him well. Let me tell you something about Uhuru Kenyatta. Jomo Kenyatta died in 1978. The Kenyattas were the first family. Kenyatta was an institution. When you went to your wallet or your pocket to move a note, it had a portrait of Kenyatta. Kenyatta was wealthy and powerful. If the Kenyattas had not kept a low profile, the politics of this country would not have been the same. That must, in order to understand Mama Ngina, Mo, and Uhuru Kenyatta, you must understand it from that perspective. Much more, in much the same way, Moi completely kept off the politics of this country. So for the Kenyattas, it has been a life of low profile. And that has been very good for the stability of the country. Not to be directly involved with the politics of the land between 1978 until the time Moi brought Uhuru into the political fold. It was very tactical, very strategic, and very, very, very smart of them. So that's how you read it. Now, the question you want to ask yourself, what role do they want to play? That will answer your question. How will he go back to Ishaweri? Can he go back as a normal person, go to a local and have a drink with people? What? It depends on how they still see their role. And this brings me to the last thing. Those people who say Kikuyus hate Uhuru, they don't know. You cannot hate yourself. The Kikuyu have this pride. And if I ask you, where is the pride coming from? That pride will crumble if you remove Kenyatta from the equation. It is Kenyatta more than anything else that defines the Kikuyu pride of who they are. You remove it, they become just like other Kenyans. It crumbles. It is the center ball. It stands on something. That pride must be based on something. The Kenyatta name and the Kenyatta reign and all that is a source of collective pride for the community. So that if you remove it from the community, they will be exposed. And they will not be what they think they are and what they make everybody want to believe they are. Kwa hivyo, let nobody lie to you that the Kikuyus hate Uhuru. This is transient.
They will cry.
This is a little poisoning from Ruto of the community, crafted so well, but which I suspect is about to come to an end.
And they will cry when Uhuru leaves office.
But they will be crying as they vote for Raila Odinga.
All right, talking about Raila Odinga, you've seen Uhuru Kenyatta, the very last. He has endorsed Raila Odinga. From Uhuru's optic, do you think he finds Raila Odinga as the perfect description of the light at the end of the tunnel that Kenya needs today, if not yesterday?
Yes or no? I have told you I understood the handshake properly. To me, this country has been suffering because of the sins of two people. I don't know how much each contributed towards the original sin. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Jomo Kenyatta. The differences between these two people, which in a sense also means the difference between the Luo and the Kikuyu, has been responsible for stagnation in this country. So that if you are a president, instead of delivering to the people of Kenya, all you go is to tell the Kikuyus, these guys want to finish up. If people are not going back to tribe, they will do nothing but deliver for these people. So the handshake was meant to create an environment in which every community works towards making this country a better place, beginning with the Kikuyus and the Luos getting together. Because people say, only two communities. You can become president and you are a Kalenjin or a Kamba. You'll come back to what we are saying. You'll come back to the realization the Luo and the Kikuyu must sort out the differences that have brought this country where it is. Once you do that, you can do that by the way Uhuru and Raila are doing, giving a Luo Raila the presidency. But there's a bigger thing also, that it is not just any Luo. It is Jaramogi's son. And it's not just Jaramogi's son. Jaramogi has other children and has other grandchildren and great-grandchildren. It is Raila Odinga who stands for something. So you are killing two birds, the proverbial two birds with one stone. Appeasing a community, a family, which appeasement will lead and free this country into greater development. But we are also bringing somebody to lead the country who has the issues of this country written in his heart or on his heart, as Mother Carol put it. So yes, you are torn for the sins of your fathers. You bring the Luos to work together with the Kikuyus, and above all, you pick a man, a Jaramogi son, a Luo, who has what it takes to see this country go beyond that atonement by steering the country into greater heights of development and political stability.
I see. Well said. That point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this particular edition of Siasa Brigade that has been touching on the achievements of Uhuru Kenyatta and what the future portends for him, even in his retirement. He's been the head of state for the last 10 years. From here as the channel, we can only wish him fair winds and follow insists, as the Navy men do say. But before I leave, of course, time for a Wheel of Time segment, taking intrigue into the life of Herman Manyora. You've met the president several times. Of all those encounters, which one would you say is your hallmark encounter with him that had incredible highlights?
Who tells you I met the president?
You've said here, not once, not twice.
I don't meet the president. The president is a big man, and I've told you I'm a small man. How can a small man meet the president?
Then how
if I'm in a place where the president is, doesn't mean I've met him.
How do you
Meeting somebody is like I give you a cup of tea. I've never shared a table with Uhuru Kenyatta.
How then do you explain being part of the 100 big boys who were invited
You
to
heard
State
that,
House?
eh? It's because I was invited. Just as a person,
As a small boy.
I think I saw two old people, one or two other people like me. It's the time the BBI report was being handed to Raila and Uhuru at the State House, and they invited 100 people, and I was happy and proud to be one of the 100, just because I'm a political analyst, and at least people see me talking about these things on TV. Say, "Watch Manyora Itwe." Another person to represent. I saw, I think, was it Joe Agay or somebody to represent the media. So we were there as maybe people who appear on people's screens in their
How
living
about
room.
the many Kenyans who have always held this view? And they might be true that Herman Manyora might not just be your ordinary small boy because somehow he's so intimate to State House.
I don't blame them. People think I take breakfast at Karen, Raila's place. Then lunch I go to State House. Let me tell you, I will never even been to Raila's house. I even don't know. I have an idea of the general direction. I've never been to Raila's. I don't know where it is. I know it's Karen. I know it's around Kradapon Road. I've never gone even there, even one day. I met Raila in his office. Once, twice, 3 times. That's okay. I met him in other places. I bumped in him. I've never met Raila, Uhuru. I've never been to his State House at the invitation of Uhuru Kenyatta. He doesn't even know me. But people think so. It's good. Let them continue thinking. I always ask them, if I was so deep state, the way they think, would I be the person I am really?
But there are 2 or 3.
Sometimes I've even cried on Twitter, my children have not been recruited, even when they are qualified. There was one classical one where my daughter had been applying to be a teacher. People were saying, Manyora, deep state, your child, I'm not. I'm not deep state. I don't know. Nobody knows me. And I don't really care, honestly. What matters to me is I don't care. I have had chances in my life to be things, but because of the kind of person I have, those chances have passed.
For the 2 or 3 people who say at some point they saw your name among the nominees for parastatal heads, for ambassadors under Uhuru's administration, how true is that statement?
I've heard that thing many times. Even during Moi's time, the intelligence will come to you and tell you, prepare. I've heard all those things.
Make a suit.
Oh, buy a suit. Yeah, I've heard those things. But I don't blame anybody. The government has just so many jobs. They can't give it to everybody. I'm not very qualified. So if there are better Kenyans who are qualified, I have no problem. Yeah.
I see.
But I don't know these people the way people think.
All right.
I wouldn't deny it in air if I knew them. I wish I knew them. Sometimes I wish I knew them because I also have small wild lily problems. Is it tabu dogo is niko na tata mimi?
Probably you'll know them because you've said if Ruto becomes president, he will be the first person to give you the job.
Ruto knows there's a man called Manyora and he knows I'm a good man.
And that he'll give you a job.
He would give me a job. Why would he not give me a job?
Ruto.
I would trust Ruto to give me a job more than Raila.
All right. Well, a perfect place to end up this conversation.
I always say that, by the way, so that people don't think I have anything against Ruto. I will never. In my public appearance, you've sat here with me. I never insult anybody.
You've actually been raised from his background.
If you look at people who operate at my level in terms of the media, they will be saying things about Raila. The other side will be saying things about Ruto. Have you ever heard me say anything about Ruto? What I do is in the context of my analysis and doesn't reflect my thinking, some of the things, my opinion, my wishes. I just analyze. At the same time, I avoid to make a personal attack on any Kenyan, and I don't insult anybody.
All right.
That's why if Ruto became president and he made me minister, nobody should be surprised. Nobody.
On a light note, though, as we wind up, you always see Brigadier Timothy Lekolol, the ADC to the president, and immediately you see the image of the CIC and the presence in there. Will you miss Uhuru Kenyatta, the CIC?
I will.
You will?
Let me tell you something about Uhuru as we wrap it up. Uhuru is a sort of person who makes you proud as a Kenyan. When you see him holding his own in State House in a discussion with Obama, other African presidents will be trembling. Because we notice, I'm a communication expert. I can see the demeanor of an African president when he's in the White House. Look at Uhuru. Maybe because he's the son of Jomo Kenyatta and he knows what. When he's with the president of the US, you are proud to be a Kenyan. Clad in a nice suit. One-on-one, eyebrow to eyebrow with the president of the United States of America. Uhuru can make you proud. When he's speaking at AU, all African leaders are... That's the kind of person Uhuru Kenyatta is. He can make you as a Kenyan proud. Everybody has their own problems. Everybody has their own weaknesses and failings. And the inability to deliver in certain ways. But purely as a human being, purely from the point of view as a Kenyan looking at your president, I'm sure any Kenyan can be proud of Uhuru Kenyatta to be their president.
All right.
Yeah.
I see we understand that a number of state officers normally watch us and are always big fans of our channel, some that are close to him. So from us as a channel, please relay this message to him. We wish him nothing but the best tidings in his retirement and life after office as the President of Kenya. Until next time on Siasa Brigade, my name is Richard Mwenje. Do have yourself a beautiful and peaceful rest of your day.